May not be anywhere like it in college basketball. The Jungle in Auburn, Alabama, home of the #1 ranked team in the country. And the tip, tapped twice, controlled by Denver Jones and the Auburn Tigers. Here at home, they are 11-1 on the season. Their only loss to #2 Florida. Tigers have won 55 of the last 59 in this building. Cardwell stuffed at the rim. Stuffed again. Huge defensive effort for Georgia on the first possession.
Well, one of the nation's top shot blocking teams. They show you right there. Wow, you talk about getting denied at the rim, where this crowd was ready to explode on the first possession. Get that out of here. No, sir. Forget that. We're trying to go to the tournament, say the Georgia Bulldogs.
Asa Newell, freshman. He's the headliner for this Georgia roster. Here's his touch in the corner. They bring a second on him, so Silas Demery fires and leaves it short. Offensive rebound by the Dogs. Luke Kane looking for some space. A fadeaway two. Rebounded by Miles Kelly. Auburn 6th in the country, scoring 84.4 points per game. But they are middle of the pack in the country in tempo. That three is short for Miles Kelly, who's been cold over his last 5 games.
And 2 good looks. Auburn loves to play call in the half court. They've gotten good looks, just unable to convert first 2 possessions.
Beautiful pass down low, but Dylan James pass on the shot, and Georgia with a slow start to this game, 0 for 3 from the floor.
To your point, Tom, tempo not extremely high for Auburn. They'll be opportunistic, but they're so good in the half court with their play calls. Why push and get a bad shot? We can get a great one like that.
Baker Mazar with the assist on a bullet to Janai Broome. With 10 to shoot, Godfrey with a fading hook. Dogs 0 for 4 from the floor.
And not really good, clean looks for Georgia. There was 1-3 early for Demery, but other than that, it's been contested tough twos.
Beautiful penetration and a layup from Miles Kelly. Senior from the Atlanta area, played at Georgia Tech for a few seasons before making his way to the Plains. Georgia scores 75 points per game. A decent shooting team. The issue has been defense in the second half of SEC play, especially as of late.
And we'll take a look at how they're going to get Janai Broome open. So as they bring somebody around their comeback screen right here, boom. Get Janai Broome coming off to that weak side, this diagonal screen. Got him right there. And those little big screens. Keep in mind, 13 Kelly sets that screen. He's a shooter. His defender does not want to come over and help. Therefore, it puts the defense in peril.
He's a 39% shooter from behind the arc. Demery, 4 to shoot. Got a step on Baker Mazar, then Cardwell spiked it, and it went off of Demery and out of bounds.
Well, I thought Demery had the angle. He made that harder than it needed to be. He had a right-hand layup at the rim, but all that help defense caused some confusion for him.
Auburn 2 for 5 from the floor, an early 4-0 lead for the Tigers. Here's Baker Mazara back in the starting lineup. Came off the bench the last couple. Broome into the paint. Off balance, and he gets it just over the rim and in. 4 early. The Player of the Year candidate, Janai Broome. Asa Newell gives Georgia 15 a game. Slips on the drive, but regains his footing. It's like he's trying to move on ice. Cardwell with a hand in his back. 8 to shoot now. Jump hook, Godfrey misses the same shot that he missed a couple of possessions ago.
Auburn switching on the perimeter has got Georgia out of their offense right now, unable to operate.
Kelly with a driving kick. Jones got a step on Kane. Wide open in the corner is Kelly. Demery trying to silence the crowd. A 9-0 Auburn start, but Broom couldn't squeeze it, and it goes out of bounds across the end line.
Well, a couple missed twos on one end for Georgia and a couple missed three-ball opportunities. You find yourself in a hole early, 0 for 6 from the field to start. Not what Mike White and this club want to do, but they've got to have some guys try to get past their man one-on-one because Auburn switches so much on the perimeter.
Kane for 3, and he gets it to roll home, 32% from deep. And he's shooting 56% over his last 4 games.
Tom,
really turned it up.
As Auburn brought subs in, they simply didn't know who was guarding who. Miscommunication as the subs got brought in.
Dakota LaFleur, one of those subs, and he picks up the foul. It's a 9-3 Auburn lead. Tigers started 0 for 3. They've made their last 4.
Well, a nearly 40% shooter from 3. You cannot be, as you appropriately put last night, you're just walking through a landmine field, trying not to have a bad loss the way the ACC is situated right now, whereas the SEC, I would argue, hey, I'd rather have quad 1 opportunities night in, night out.
Georgia mixes it up defensively, shows a little bit of zone for the first time. They go back to man now. Peyton Johnson with the fadeaway 2. He just came into the game, and he's been playing really well over the last 5+ games.
He really has, and he makes some of those tough mid-range contested twos that you think are good shots if you're the defense, but he's been knocking them down.
Slow start for Georgia offensively. Can't afford any more misses. Tahad Pettiford off the long rebound. Weaves his way into the front court. Pettiford gives Auburn nearly 3 assists a game. He had 24 points in the head-to-head matchup at Stegman Coliseum earlier this season. Here's Broom. Lefty fadeaway. Crashing the glass. Santos Real. Asa Newell on the run. Steps through, and he walked with it. Not the offensive start that the Dogs had in mind. 1 for 8 with a turnover. Mike White in his 3rd season in Athens. They have improved each and every year he's been at the helm. 4-9 in conference play. Broom left wide open. And he is just 2 for his last 11 from deep. That's coming over a 3+ game span. They might leave him open again. So Real working on Broom. Little touch to knock it away. Turns over his left shoulder, banked it too strong. There's Newell, and there's the strength of having 2 bigs in the game. Bring Asa Newell up to crash the boards.
And the number one thing on the scouting report with Asa Newell is you must block out. You see his offensive rebounding numbers, 2nd in the SEC at over 3 a game. He is so active, has such a quick jump off the ground, and really good body control. Great hands as well.
Newell's got 6 double-doubles on the season, 3 of them with 20 points. He's a 4-time SEC Freshman of the Week. He had a double-double in their previous matchup, 16 and 10. But in that game, there was no Johni Broome. Broome to the bench. One of 2 from the line for the fantastic freshman 5-star recruit. Auburn started this game poorly, 0 for 3. Since then, the Tigers have made 5 of 7. Newell to the bench now.
Stay in some of this zone look.
Oh, jumper is good. And we welcome those of you who watch Houston win at home against Iowa State. Tom Hart alongside Dane Bradshaw in the jungle. Number 1 Auburn off to a rollicking start here on its home court against a Georgia team which is looking for its first ever win against the number 1 team in the country. Todd Pettiford tracks down the loose ball and fires And Chad Baker-Mazara stepped on the end line. Georgia has been off to an abysmal offensive start, just 1 for 10. Meanwhile, after a slow start for the Tigers, Janai Broome found a couple of looks. He's got 4 of their 13 points.
Yeah, they've got some good looks in the half court, especially against man-to-man, but Georgia's mixed up a little. Matchup zone has caused Auburn to slow it down a little bit in the half court. I think Bruce Pearl's probably going to go back to just running some of his man-to-man looks.
This is a Georgia team which is playing its 7th game this calendar year, 7 out of 14 against top 10 opponents. They have been through an absolute gauntlet. It continues with number 2 Florida up next. But for a team on the bubble, a huge opportunity for the Dogs. Fadeaway bank shot with the left from R.J. Godfrey for his first bucket.
He's a pretty good finisher. He can do it over either shoulder, and that time got a nice angle to kiss it off the glass. They're going to need some of that point production outside of just the guards.
Second matchup this season between the two. Georgia fell at the buzzer against Auburn earlier this year. Blue Cane has knocked down a 3. Miles Kelly has 5. This is a Georgia team. It started the game 0 for 7. And on that last possession, Auburn's Chaney Johnson picks up his second personal foul. Not much has worked for Georgia offensively so far. Just 2 for 11 as National Player of the Year candidate Janai Broome returns to the floor. Where is Georgia's strength in the half court?
Well, I think you want to get some ball screen action right here with Demery and see if you can get him going downhill. 3 threes already for him. He's been settling a little too much.
Deep 3 off the back of the rim for Kane, who has one of 2 field goals made by Georgia here in the first 7.5 minutes. Janai Broome directing traffic for Pettiford and instructs the freshman to pull it out. To the high post and the lefty Broome. 10 to shoot. Broome harassed by Godfrey. Handoff to Denver Jones. Now 4 to shoot. Jones into the paint. And it's knocked away. Georgia with a chance to push. Silas Demery Jr. with the lob and a 2-hand flush finish by Justin Absent.
Well, I think Auburn simply forgot the play. There was mass confusion in the half court. Guys didn't know where to go specifically on that play. Maybe with Chaney Johnson picking up that second foul, not the lineup you expect for Auburn right now with Chris Moore at the 3.
Bruce Pearl may call more plays than any coach in college basketball. We'll see where he wants to go on this one. Pettiford, the freshman point guard, gives it up to Jones for a contested 3 that barely grazed the iron. 2 empty possessions for the Tigers. A kick by Cardwell. And that'll send us to a timeout on the floor. Bruce Pearl's team #1 in the country. But Georgia looking for its first ever win against #1. And the Dogs.
Opportunities are dwindling away. This is one of 2 what I would call resume-changing win opportunities for Georgia left on the resume. This, and then they have Florida next. So is it a tall task? Yes. But keep in mind, this is an Auburn team that has been played close at home. We saw it recently against Arkansas. Tennessee's taking them down the wire. Can Georgia keep this thing close late and see if they can pull off a huge upset?
But Auburn great in close games. 6-0 in games decided by 5 or less. Second tip is good from Justin Absent, who's already doubled his season average here this afternoon. Also of note, here in this building, Auburn has won 55 of its last 59 games. Home court advantage is made first and foremost by talented teams and buttressed by the great crowd support. Auburn's got both. They've got the #1 offensive efficiency team, not just in college basketball this year, but as long as Ken Pomeroy has been tracking it. And a miss there, but some empty possessions for Auburn after they went on a run a couple of minutes into this game.
Despite all those impressive offensive numbers, they've been pretty stagnant the last 5 or 6 minutes, slow to get in their sets.
Absent with the step through, left it short. Here's Chad Baker-Mazara. He started this game after coming off the bench the last couple. Has been banged up and dealing with various injuries. Bruce Pearl does a fantastic job of keeping his stars fresh, and that was the goal of bringing Baker-Mazara off the bench. And after the miss Georgia foul. Bruce Pearl, 224 career wins here at Auburn. That's the most in school history. And a resume this season that is unmatched. But as you pointed out earlier, before most of our audience joined us, they haven't wrapped anything up yet.
They're still playing for number one in the SEC, the overall number one seed. While they aren't focused on individual awards, Bruce Pearl playing for National Coach of the Year, Janai Broome, National Player of the Year. And I do think Coach Pearl has gotten some separation in that category, considering what they've been able to do in a historic SEC night in, night out.
Lane Hudson follows his own miss. He had made a bucket since February 1st.
He came in and played really well when Janai Broome was hurt in their first matchup, gave them some big minutes on the road against Georgia.
Here's Dylan James, picks up his dribble. Newell is the star for Georgia, five-star freshman. Gives it to Blue Kane, who gets downhill and then rejected by Broome. And a step on the end line by Kane.
Well, you see the ball pressure by Auburn. They are really trying to heat up the four-man.
They corrected that call. Sorry, it'll be Georgia basketball. They said Broome stepped on the line after this block.
Probably the right call. I thought Kane did get hit on his way to the basket. Kane's got to be a double-digit scorer in this game. Demery, Asa Newell, you expect to get double figures from both of those guys for Georgia, but they really have to have that third scorer, whether it's Kane or perhaps Dylan James, 13 in red, who's capable as well.
Here's LePew, step back at the end of the shot clock, and that one will go out of bounds over the top. 15-10, Auburn with the lead, despite the fact that the Tigers made just one of their last 7 shots. (24-2) overall. Losses only on the road at Duke and at home against protege Todd Golden in Florida. Broome fights for the rebound. It's out of bounds and will go over the Dogs. Georgia has been right there, seemingly in just about every game this year. The last couple of losses for Mike White's team have come after halftime leads to both Missouri and Mississippi State.
They've really got that, their best win, that neutral site win against St. John's, that continues to pay off the better St. John's does. And they've won the games they're supposed to win, but they just got to clip a couple games that maybe they're not, including opportunity right in front of us.
Newell couldn't finish, and the loose ball ends up in the Dogs' hands. Godfrey steps over Hudson, who gets whistled for the foul, and we'll see R.J. Godfrey going to the free throw line.
Bruce Pearl upset. He thought Hudson got fouled on the loose ball opportunity. His guys were diving for it right here. See as Hudson goes down. Typically they try to not allow people to pile on that loose ball. And then Georgia opportunistic with some of the sloppy play there.
And so to the free throw line is R.J. Godfrey, who's shooting 60% from the floor over his last 4. After playing for Brad Brownell at Clemson for 2 years. Coming up next here on ESPN, number 17, Kentucky goes into Tuscaloosa, face a floundering Alabama squad coming up a tough loss midweek to Missouri. And then that Mizzou team coming off a huge win plays its second of the year against Arkansas at 8 o'clock, and we finish out west, BYU and Arizona as BYU tries to keep the good vibes going after their demolition of Kansas.
And what's interesting about that Alabama team, it feels like the same as last year where they limped a little bit into March. They weren't defending well. Their rim protection wasn't there. Yet then they started playing their absolute best at the right time. See if Nate Oates can repeat that magic they had a year ago.
First ever trip in the Final Four. Lots of banging inside. And finally, as Broome turned to get the shot up, the whistle and the foul against R.J. Godfrey.
Georgia okay playing one-on-one in the post with Broome. And Broome does such a nice job of just playing at his pace and his pace only. He really does not get sped up.
Pardon me, they got Blue Kane for that foul, not Godfrey. Don Daly trying to play peacemaker. Teams that know each other well. Auburn does a fantastic job recruiting the Atlanta area. They have since Bruce Pearl and his staff got to town. And a foul will send Chaney Johnson to the free throw line. It's a 5-point Auburn lead, #1 in the country, the best team in Auburn history.
Game. And that high school photo you referenced, he was 5'10" as a freshman. And that's common when you see good passing bigs with high IQ and those guard skills. The first question I ask is, when did you have your growth spurt? And oftentimes it's a late growth spurt, and they were playing guard their whole lives, and so they already had those guard skills in them before they moved to the post. And Johni Broome has brought that to this team that really can play three-point guards on the perimeter with guys like Baker Mazzara, Denver Jones, and Tahad Pettiford, and you throw Broome in down low, and you got a high IQ team.
The other one for Chaney Johnson, and he missed them both. Rebound by Blue Kane. Dane Bradshaw, when's the last time you bought a ticket to a college basketball game?
I said if. It was hypothetical.
It's kind of like that if is doing a lot of lifting.
They're not the same player, but it's kind of like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan wasn't the most exciting MVP, but he was still the best player on the best team.
And as productive as innings, shot clock is at 8. Georgia just won for its last 7, and a foul way out in front goes against the Dogs. And to take it the other way, that'll be the 3rd turnover of the game for a Georgia team. He's just 4 for 20 from the floor.
Well, they're going to call the illegal pick right here before the blocking foul on Chaney Johnson. And so there's really 2 fouls on the play. One happened before the other, and I think that's the correct call. Got to be set. Can't throw those forearms out into the defender.
Yeah, that extension is probably a clean screen.
And that would have been 3 on Chaney Johnson. They called it the other way.
Well, the offense is stuck in the mud right now. Denver Jones from deep will clear him out. That's his first triple, and Auburn's up by 8.
And now you've got 3 shooters in the game against some of that zone.
And Georgia gets out of the rut with the nice lob and finish, and Surreal fouled on his way in.
Surreal really jumps off the screen, doesn't he? I mean, this guy is just an absolute monster. Look at this athlete running the core, able to get this thing high in the air, off balance, gets a little shove, finishes and one. Just a freshman, but 6'11", 260. Known for his shot blocking, but I cannot wait to see how this guy develops over the coming seasons.
Four-star recruit was at overtime elite in Atlanta last year, and he rolls it home. Now, Georgia has not played an efficient offensive game yet on the road against #1, only trailing by 5. Georgia, in its basketball history, has never beaten #1, 0-20 all time. Baker Mazzara left it short. Cardwell tracks it down deep in the corner. Broome wanted the lob. Instead, Denver Jones has set it up. Demery guarding Broome. Kick to the corner. Baker Mazzara for 3. And Broome another offensive rebound and foul on the putback.
And that right there just shows you his value against this zone. Not just a big man. He is a point center down low. An excellent skip pass. And if the teammate misses, he's there to clean it up. I mean, he's got terrific vision. We see this game in, game out. And then he does his work from there, taking advantage of the undersized guard, trying to hold him up.
Lucky he didn't hurt his knee as he went down. I was talking to Janai after shoot around today about his passing. And he said, listen, there's 2 reasons my assist numbers are up. Number 1, my guys are knocking down all sorts of shots on the perimeter. That certainly helps. He said, number 2, I know where I'm going with the basketball even before I get it, so I've been so much more decisive instead of just pounding it into the ground and dribbling on the block and looking for somebody to come open. I get it and I distribute immediately. Part of that's got to be about the offensive game plan that Bruce Pearl puts together for him.
Yeah, we asked Coach Pearl, how many times down the court are you play calling? He said, as many times as I can. And I think that leads to greater percentages on the shooters. When you're getting the ball where you expect, psychologically, you are ready and prepared to make that shot. And they've done an excellent job playing through Broome and for him as well.
Auburn with a little full court pressure. Dakota LeFew, transfer from Mount St. Mary's, one of 2 transfers from the Mount. Now running the point for Georgia is Silas Demery. Here's Kane off the screen. Little late getting it to LeFew. The result is a blocked shot, and LeFew tracks it down. Shot clock at 6. Kane didn't see it. Clocking now 4. 3 to shoot. Kane unaware. 1 to shoot. Passed it, and a shot clock violation. Blue Kane never saw the shot clock.
Well, that all starts with the ball pressure that Auburn has really brought 1 through 5 when Georgia's trying to operate their offense, and they just don't have a lot of blow-by guys. Georgia doesn't have great speed on the perimeter, and you can't be a good shooting team if you're not a good passing team. You got to deliver that thing on time or on target, or that's the kind of result that can happen when he's catching an errant pass.
Auburn just 35% from the floor. They came in to today, and as most of the season, quick shot from Broome, the #1 offensive efficiency team in all of college basketball in the history of the Ken Pom staff. And a shove in his second push-off for Santos Surreal.
He's got to learn from the first one. This is the correct call. You're big enough. Just hold your ground. There's no reason to throw these forearms at the defender. This is the second time that this has happened. You're there, get your feet set, and you don't need to do that extra check. As Baker Mazara baits him into it.
6'11", 260. That's quite a roadblock. The 2 illegal screens charges Surreal. Here's Pettiford, guarded by Kane.
I do think this zone for Georgia has been a good look for them defensively.
Kelly had to corral it, but couldn't. Go to the first row, and an Auburn turnover, just the second of the game for the Tigers. They do a fantastic job using Bruce Pearl's words, valuing the possession. Only 9 turnovers a game for this Auburn team.
Well, let's see if Georgia can get inside the three-point line. I can't remember the last time they've gotten a paint touch in the half court.
And the film study today for Auburn showed clip after clip of Georgia getting downhill and getting to the rim. But shut off the water for the most part. Kane fade away after the foul by Kelly, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Nice job by Kane. Just using that jab step. Got a little bit of separation, drove left, played off 2 feet. That's what you got to do against this ball pressure. You're not going to be able to just swing it around the perimeter.
So Blue Kane to the free throw line. 85% shooter at the stripe. One more coming from Blue Kane. Here's our NBA Saturday primetime game on ABC and ESPN+. LeBron and Luka lead the Lakers against the Joker and the Nuggets. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Lakers are 1 and 2 with both Luka and LeBron on the floor at the same time this year.
Fitting initials, LeBron and Luka, LAL on the promo.
How about Luka since the trade, 15 and 7. Not exactly the production that he had prior. Injured in his first game with the Lakers. Pettiford left it short on the shot from Kane. I said he was a good partner. That was LeBron who missed that first game. And now Broome for 3. Got it. Tonight Broome has not been shooting well from deep. Just 2 for his last 12, but that gives Auburn an 8-point advantage. Well, the Georgia passes are not crisp. Newell for 3. Rebounded by Miles Kelly.
Just 0 penetration on that end of the court. And Auburn switches on the perimeter, and that makes it even tougher for them to run their offense.
Here's the freshman Pettiford. Big-time matchup with Silas Demery guarding. And now same with Broome and Newell. Veteran versus rookie. Broome off the mark.
And Tom, I tell you, I mean, after that 9-0 start by Auburn, Georgia's been able to hold their own. Just got to try to cut into that lead some if they can get anything going on this end of the court.
Tonight, Broome, Player of the Year candidate in all of college basketball, comes in averaging a double-double, 18 and 11. The only thing is 69 at A&M. Chaz Lanier erupted in the first half, made his first 5 threes and finished with 30.
And how about that dagger 3 from Zakai Ziegler late in the shot clock on the road? We saw him do it at Texas earlier this year and then again at Texas A&M.
Wisconsin lost at home to Oregon despite John Tonji going for 22. Here's Auburn on the run. Layup no good. Auburn has struggled at the rim in this game. Georgia's interior defense has kept them in the contest.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They've got terrific rim protection. They were terrible in that regard last year, and they fixed it in the offseason.
Floater good for Silas Demery, and the super sophomore gets his first bucket of the game. But Auburn, to finish that point, is just 3 for 9 at the rim. Their first 2 shots of the game came at the rim, and Dylan Cardwell was blocked both times. Broome, touch pass outside to Kelly.
Turned one down, didn't he? That was open.
And so he takes a contested one over LeFleur. White shirts in for the rebound, Chris Moore.
That's now 7 offensive rebounds for Auburn. Got to be one and done on this possession for Georgia.
Demery able to clean up the glass. Tigers 1 for their last 9. And a bump out front. Charge to Tahad Pettiford, the freshman point guard.
I like the aggressiveness by Demery. They're just not going to be able to swing it around the perimeter because the ball has to be in his hands. Everybody on the court right now needs to be set up to score, except for Demery. He's the one guy that can penetrate on his own, get that paint touch. Even if he gives it up, you got to find a way to get it back in his hands later in the possession.
So Georgia now in the bonus. Silas Demery Jr., 83% from the free throw line. Mike White has done a tremendous job on the recruiting trail of the high school kids. He was a 4-star recruit who had originally committed to Southern California, but misses the front end of a one-on-one. The lefty Broome. Back out to Cardwell. It's a scoring drought now exceeding 2 minutes for Auburn, the #1 ranked team in the country. 5 to shoot. Pettiford tried to dump it off. Broome in traffic is fouled. Pick a dog on that foul.
Shows you the good hands by Broome as well. Pettiford just has such speed and an extra gear, gets to the lane, and that is a tough pass for a big man to catch, yet Broome makes it look so easy in traffic.
That's a second on R.J. Godfrey. So here's Johni Broome at the free throw line. 2 for 2 already today. Dogs' next game is part of the SEC Network's Tuesday night doubleheader, and another huge opportunity for Mike White's team. They get his former team, #2 Florida, in Athens at 7 o'clock Eastern. We'll be in Baton Rouge for #6 Tennessee at LSU. Big doubleheader for the best team in college, best league, I should say, in college basketball this season. The SEC will likely set a record in NCAA tournament teams this year. Georgia certainly hoping that record extends and includes them. Asa Newell's been quiet today. He had 23 last time out. Goes to his right and shoves it in.
Well, Cardwell is just a brick wall down there, but Newell has such quick, explosive, great lift that he gets up and rises over the top, gets a good clean look at the rim.
Gives him 15 a game, but so far only 1 made bucket for Newell this afternoon. He's got 3 points.
Auburn has missed the screener step, and they usually get near the logo.
Broome with the drop step, easy deuce.
That's too easy. You know he wants to come back to that left hand over the right shoulder. That's his go-to spin.
That might be the only time in this game we've had consecutive buckets on either side, and Georgia ends the run with a Dylan James offensive foul.
Just really nice D here. Baker Mazara slides those feet, and you put that forearm out. Again, the ball pressure and the lack of separation. You got to know you're dealing with a left-hand player. You just can't force him back to that side. That's easy money for Johni Broome.
90 seconds to play in the first half. Georgia has turned it over 7 times and has only 7 made field goals. Pettiford finds Baker Mazara. Floater off the back of the rim. And Demery knocked it out of his teammate's hands. It stays with Auburn. Pettiford off balance. Cardwell fights for it, and Kane finds it with 1:07. Georgia trying to finish the half with something positive offensively. It's been a horrendous offensive performance so far. They're on pace for their season low in the first half that they did against South Carolina State in the last game of 2024. Broome, fadeaway. Cardwell board. Another opportunity. Baker Mazara logo 3. Tom Amansky would not put this offense on his teaching videotape. It has been poor on both sides, to put it nicely. Pettiford commits his second.
If you're Georgia, if you can get away being down 7 or less and get into halftime, you will absolutely take it. But their offense is just putting so much pressure on their defense.
The funny part is we had a long talk with Mike White last night at Georgia practice about how they had to redo their halftime routine because the second half starts have been so bad. They'd be lucky to have one of those starts the way they played in the first 19 minutes. Demery's got another one.
I got to think their second half is going to look better than the first half despite the recent trend. But you see, and a lot of this has to do with Auburn's game plan. The pressure on the perimeter and the lack of explosiveness by multiple guards for Georgia. Again, Tyron Lawrence out with that ankle injury. He's a guy that can kind of get to the paint on his own. But if you can be down 5 going into half, you will call that a win. However, it takes special to win against number 1 on the road. Right now, Mike White's Georgia team hadn't been special enough, but they've hung in there and kept it close despite an inefficient offensive first half.
26-21, Georgia getting its points from the free throw opponent. That's the most in college basketball. They have 0 losses outside of the first quadrant. And they have opportunities still to come. But as of now, Lunardi has them outside the tournament.
Where would you rather be? A bubble team that has a lot of games they're favored in, but a loss ruins your resume? Or a bubble team with a ton of quad 1 opportunities, 1 win might get you in? That's where Georgia is right now with this SEC schedule.
2.5-second difference, game clock and shot clock. Broome has scored the last 8, so they turn to Baker Mazzara. Why not? His first bucket of the game. Clock at 3. Demery got it! A huge bucket for Sutton.
Recently for Georgia, they must get off to a great start if they want any chance at pulling off this upset.
Part of the wrinkle to start the second half, Mike White said, I will find somebody that didn't start the game to start the second half. That is Justin Abson, who offers a screen for Silas Demery. Mike White had a list of 7 different things that they were going to change at halftime, and they've been practicing them all week. Demery challenged on the 2, left it short. Here's Blue Kane, and he's fouled. Missouri scored on its first 10 possessions of the second half last time out. The scoring margin in the second half, the last 2, Missouri and Mississippi State, is -41. Mike White went so far this week in practice as to stop practice midway through, run to the locker room, tell everybody it's halftime, now let's go back out for the second half. Part of that was tongue-in-cheek, and everybody kind of rolled with it and had fun with it, but it's absolutely a mental hurdle for this team.
No, it is, and he says really as long as he can remember as a coach, the first 3 minutes of halftime, the team meets on their own, the coaches meet on their own, their separate ways, then they come together. He said, I'm scrapping that, we're going to meet together right away. He goes, got to try to do something to just change the trajectory of our second half starts.
Meanwhile, poor shooting percentages for both teams, the 4th worst combined in an SEC game this season. Broome the lob, Cardwell to finish. First bucket of the night for Dylan Cardwell.
Well, and they always run a great set play out of halftime, does Auburn, and that was a thing of beauty there. Hit the 5-man, get the lob on the backside.
Here's Kane. Gives it up to Demery. They get a block touch for Abson, who got hit in the face by Cardwell. Cardwell just slapping down at the ball and got him right in the forehead or the nose. It's the first personal on Dylan Cardwell.
And here's the replay as Cardwell, they didn't really call it at first. They were going to let it play on until they saw the reaction and the delay and thought something happened there.
That would have been one heck of a play on. Meanwhile, tonight Broome with another assist on the feed to Cardwell. Georgia's a bubble team right now. Lunardi has them below the cut line. This would be the Dogs' best win of the season if they could somehow find some offense. And Cardwell picks up his second in a matter of seconds.
Confusion by Auburn. It was both Broome and Jones pointing at the same man, and then ultimately Newell is going to slip through here. You got 2 guys on the perimeter. Watch Jones and Broome. They're both pointing at the ball.
That's a Spider-Man meme, not a basketball player.
Newell has been so great all season long as a freshman. Just a double-double machine. but so far just 4 points, 2 rebounds. He has got to put his imprint on this game if they want any chance at knocking off #1 in the country.
3 fouls in the first 90 seconds for Auburn. As far as Newell is concerned, tough sledding at the rim. He came into this game 10th in the country with 51 dunks. Not bad for a freshman. 6'11", 5-star, and 2 for 2 from the line. Auburn has never trailed in this game. Dogs stay with the zone look. Baker Mazzara, the blind feed, and Broome better lucky than good.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to throw the lob, and I don't know if he changed his mind or it was just a bad pass that went in, but Auburn's had success now getting Broome right there in the middle of the zone, letting him be that point center against that zone defense.
That's the adjustment the Tigers have made against Georgia's zone look. Newell working on Broome. Off balance from underneath the rim.
Really good man-to-man defense by Broome there, staying in front of his.
Hesitation move. Jones blows all the way to the rim. Cardwell nearly committed his third, and then Baker Mazzara commits one. Absent has 6 points. He has tripled his average output, and he's going to the free throw line.
This is a really important play for Georgia. Auburn was getting some momentum, and you were starting to see some of those defensive second-half lapses to start games. And then Absen, an unsung hero, did not think he would be 6 points getting the start in the second half. But he's played really well for Georgia so far in this one.
Absen with a 3-point play. 2 years at Appalachian State. He was a 7.7 rebound performer for the Mountaineers. And a great shot blocker for App. Here's Jones. Got a bump, and now the 3 is off the mark. Absen is right there. But Mike White said, I'm going to do something different coming out of the locker room. That thing is putting Justin Absen in the second half starting lineup, and he has performed mightily here in the first 2.5 minutes. Newell into Cardwell. Didn't get the whistle. Mike White beside himself that they didn't get the call. Emory had to fight over the screen. Broome left open. Meanwhile, Baker Mazzara dances. And a challenge 3, fouled on the shot by Dylan James. And Chad Baker Mazzara is shaking his head at Dane Bradshaw, saying they can't guard me without fouling me.
Yeah, he loves the ball screen action, but in this situation, he doesn't call for a ball screen because he loved his one-on-one matchup. And then just because we talk pregame doesn't mean he's got to include me in his.
No, you're included.
But I did love my conversation with him. I talked about how playing for Bruce Pearl, he lets you be yourself. And Baker Mazzara can get himself in trouble. He's gotten technical fouls. We've known. He goes, look, coach tells me I got to keep in check. I'm trying to get better at it. He said, but the thing I love about playing for Bruce Pearl is when I make a mistake, I don't have to look over at the bench and the scorer's table and somebody's coming to sub in for me. I get to play through those mistakes, and coach will just point to his head and say, be smarter, do this, and allows me to adjust throughout the game without losing my confidence.
When is that freedom too much freedom from Bruce Pearl to star players?
Well, I think it's always been put in check. Like eventually, if you take advantage of the green light, or you take a ton of questionable shots, or you don't cover the scouting report, your minutes are going to dwindle. But one of the great things that this staff does is these players know what minutes to expect. He's got it on the whiteboard. Here's who's starting. Here's how many minutes you're getting as a reserve. Guys that aren't in the rotation, be ready to come in if so-and-so gets in foul trouble. So everybody's on the same page with defined roles. Near
steal by Baker Mazzara. He's picked up technicals in each of the last 2 games. And Auburn's season was upended in the first round against Yale last year when he was ejected from the game with an errant elbow. 8-point Auburn advantage. Baker Mazzara gambles. Here's LeFew open from 3. Dogs can't take advantage of it.
Yeah, they made the right read. You called it. Baker Mazzara took a chance, doubled, and snuck away from the corner, and Bulldogs could not make him pay.
Poor pass from Broome, went into Kane's arms. 3-on-1 for Georgia. Now Demery Jr. And he gets that one to go. He closed the half with his first 3. Now he's into double figures.
They must make some of those from deep. In conference play, they have been worst in the SEC at under 29% from three. If you're going to win on the road, you have to connect from deep.
His Broom spins and a reach in on Dakota LeFew. It's his second. Less than 7 threes made per game for Georgia. And so far this afternoon, the Dogs are 3 for 12 from deep. Baker Mazar to the bench. Denver Jones picked up a couple fouls in the first half. He was limited to 11 minutes. And Auburn saw more zone than it had in the first half all season. Jones reverses to Kelly. Kelly gets to the rim. Too easy for Miles Kelly, the former Georgia Tech standout. Demry then fouled just past midcourt by Chaney Johnson, and that's the third on Johnson.
He can't guard me.
It's
two
an
different
evolution.
things. That's okay. That's not going to get you a tech. I think Auburn fans should applaud his effort and say, baby steps. Way to go.
Well, two guys who know what it's like to play for Bruce Pearl. You played for Bruce at Tennessee, and Chad Baker Mazar. Now another year under Bruce here at Auburn, and some time on the exercise bike before he re-enters. Low-scoring game for Georgia, and the Dogs turn it over. They turned it over on 24%, 23% of their first half possessions. Baker Mazar getting some oxygen, and is that Skittles? Going Marshawn Lynch on the bike?
This guy loves the camera.
But what a wonderful exchange we had with him after shoot-around today. He just beams with positivity, and I gotta be honest, it's completely different than the Chad Baker Mazara that you see as a viewer if you're not wearing Auburn glasses when you watch him play. Janai Broom foul.
And he talked about how unselfish this team is, and they don't really take many what Bruce Pearl likes to call my-turn shots, kind of that selfish basketball, because he grew up playing point guard his whole life. But they've got so many other point guards that are pass-first, unselfish players on the court that he knows when you pass it and give it up, you got a good chance of getting it back, or the next possession will come to you. It allows you to let the game come to you the way this Auburn offense has done all year long.
Broom on his way in gets fouled again. Baker Mazara, by the way, a couple of different stops. San Diego State, Duquesne, Northwest Florida State before coming to Auburn. And Janai Broom will now head to the free throw line after the third on Santos Surreal.
But as good as this Auburn offense has been, if you're Mike White and you say, hey, you got 15 minutes left in the second half, you've held Auburn to 37% from the field, 29% from three, and they're only 6 of 10 from the stripe, you'll take that all day long. It's just, can they get consecutive makes followed up with some stops for Georgia to cut into this lead? Remember, this was a 9-0 game to start. Since that slow start by Georgia, they have been right there and more with Auburn.
It's Georgia basketball. Don Daly is going to want to talk about it with Patrick Evans. He saw it differently. Those guys in the shades disagree.
I'm not sure they can claim they had a better look with their sunglasses on inside the arena.
Could have been off of Chris Moore.
Might have been. I think so.
My cousin Corey Hart made that song very famous in the 80s. Here's Silas Demry running the offense for Georgia. Just 30% from the floor in this game, 10 for 33.
How can they get Demry or Kane downhill?
That's how they do it. Kane with the layup.
Surreal did a great job just sealing off the post down low, opening that driving lane.
5-point deficit for a Georgia team that nearly knocked off Auburn at Stegman Coliseum back in mid-January. That was a 2-point Auburn escape. As the Dogs got a couple of looks with 5 seconds to play. Denver Jones off the Broom screen. Shuffles it out to Kelly. And the three's off the back of the rim, and then Kelly tracks it down, and he gets Kane to commit the foul in the fight. It's his second on Blue Kane.
Tom, let's take a look at how they're able to get the penetration. Keep an eye right here. He is going to seal this man off, and that's what's going to open up this driving lane for Blue Cane. It's a hard post up that really is set as a screen to keep Johnson coming over from providing any rim protection, and just a blow-by on the on-ball defender, getting Georgia the easiest two they've had all game.
Coincidentally, I used the same move last night to keep you from getting that bacon appetizer at Acre.
Yeah, and your alligator arms for the check.
Mm-hmm. It's quite a combination. Baker Mazzara back on the floor, wants a touch. Jones, late in the shot clock, fires up an air ball, and Broom barreled into the opposition. It ends up with a Baker Mazzara three. 8-point Auburn advantage, and a whistle on the inbound, and a foul against Denver Jones, his third.
Baker Mazzara, right place, right time. You'll keep an eye on Janai Broom at the bottom of your screen. He's got the mismatch down low. Demery just can't collect that defensive rebound. The awareness of the shot clock winding down. Big time shot there.
Second three of the game for Baker Mazzara. Latest physical. Surreal going downhill. Fouled! And he's going to the line.
This guy's upside is through the roof.
Here we go. Here we go. Baker Mazzara in the middle of it with Silas Demery Jr. And that's why Surreal is at the free throw line. One shot for a 46% free throw shooter. If you're looking for a positive from an Auburn standpoint, this incredible student section is all bought in now if they weren't earlier.
And this is a big moment. We've joked a little bit about Baker Mazzara and the reputation and emotion, but right now he's got to be thinking nothing but positive plays for his team. Don't let this emotion get the best of you.
Here's Baker Mazzara working with Broom. Floater falls off. Asa Newell with the rebound. Push ahead for the Dogs. Kane keeps it alive and saves it to Cardwell. And a lob pass nearly hit the scoreboard. Boom! The left hand hammer! Assist to Baker Mazzara. Hockey assist to Cardwell. Silas Demery Jr. Off the mark, Cardwell secures the rebound. On that dunk, Janai Broom collected the 77th double-double of his career. His 41st in an Auburn uniform, and over the last 25 years behind only Oscar Tshiebwe and Glenn Big Baby Davis in SEC play. Shot clock at 5. Kelly for 3. Baker Mazzara finds it.
He's been asking for a sub, yet the ball comes to him, and now he's got the energy to go at the defender.
He needs more Skittles. Smell an NIL deal in that category for Chad Baker Mazzara. Auburn has extended the lead to 9. Demery dumps it off. Newell fouled on his way up. He gets off the floor quickly.
Well, Baker Mazzara has really responded well since that technical, and the shot fake there to get the defender in there. You got to try to be the second guy off the ground if you're the defense. And the play prior to that or 2 plays prior, the no-look pass to Broom on the breakaway to get this crowd to erupt here at the Jungle.
Newell has made 4 in a row from the free throw line. Second best prospect in Georgia history behind Anthony Edwards. He tied Dominique Wilkins with 26 points in his freshman debut. Best in Georgia history. 2 for 2 from the line. 7-point deficit for Georgia.
A really big lineup for Georgia. A lot of length. Dylan James at the 3. They want to use him in multiple spots. Does Mike White try to keep Auburn uncomfortable? Right now he's at the top of this zone.
Bruce Pearl said expect something different from Georgia this week. They had plenty of time to get ready for this game. They had the opportunity to rest and present some wrinkles. The zone is the wrinkle. Here's Broome, plenty of time. Splashes it home. 19 for Broome and a couple of threes. It's a 10-point Auburn advantage. Largest lead of the game for the Tigers. Contested 3 is good from Asa Newell right over the top of Janai Broome. He's into double figures.
That was a monster shot for Georgia, not to let this thing get away from them. Down 10 on the road. Got to try to silence the crowd. Huge shot from Newell.
Since those 4 technicals, Auburn has outscored Georgia just 7-6. Neither team was able to take advantage. Broome rejected, but picked up the foul, and they're going to count it. You say it was goaltending? Todd Austin came through from the offside and punched home that it would count. Track knocked off Missouri on Thursday night. The Cats get LSU at home on campus, 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. All games available on the ESPN app. They waved off the basket. It was originally called goaltending, and so Janai Broome has 2 shots instead of 1. Todd Austin had the whistle. Anytime there's a foul, the officiating crew can protect themselves in those moments. You call goaltending, you go to the monitor, no harm.
Yeah, if they don't call goaltend, it's not reviewable. So by calling it, it allows you to correct it either way.
Broome 1 of 2 from the line. Big win on the bubble for Vanderbilt. Won at home against ranked Ole Miss this afternoon. Oklahoma, another bubble team, knocked off Mississippi State by 6. Georgia running out of runway. A turnover, 3-on-1. Pettiford kept it. He had Broome. And the freshman picks up the foul. Will go to the free throw line.
It continues to be the ball pressure up front with Auburn. They really felt like they could bother Georgia's backcourt and their bigs. As Pettiford, Janai Broome thought he had a 2-on-1 situation. Pettiford decided to take it himself. But he's going to log some big minutes at point guard with Denver Jones, or has logged some big ones here when Denver Jones picked up that 4th.
So Tahad Pettiford at the free throw line. We're talking with Bruce Pearl about his team today. Echoed what Chad Baker-Mazara said, what Janai Broome said. The difference last year, this year, everybody really pulling in the same direction. He goes, I got guys that have worked so hard, that play with a chip on the shoulder. Pettiford is the only McDonald's All-America on this roster. He's the 7th in school history. Nothing against Pettiford. He is an elite player, but everybody else on the floor has really worked hard, second opportunity of their college basketball lives to earn this opportunity.
And I think surrounding Pettiford with guys with a chip on their shoulder allows him to not become complacent and just rely on his talent.
Abson got the ball fake, but no whistle. That's part of the scouting report on Justin Abson. And that would have been Cardwell's 4th. So here's Pettiford. He's from Hudson Catholic, Jersey City, New Jersey. Rated the number 2 point guard in America. He had a high school game against Memorial where he went for 43.
And really only 2 scorers on the court right now for Auburn, and Georgia knows it.
Demery threw the interception. Kane takes it away. And Blue Kane now into double figures. 8-point contest.
I think that's where he can continue to get better, finishing around the rim. He's a sneaky good athlete. Get in there off 2, seek contact. He's finished a couple here in the second half.
8 points and 4 boards for the sophomore from Knoxville. Taken away by Silas Demery Jr. Into Pettiford to earn the whistle. 3rd personal on Tahad Pettiford.
Well, and there's a lot of pressure on Pettiford right now. He's got to be able to handle that pressure from Demery. But this is not their best ball handling lineup for Auburn. And so you see Pettiford here. There's Demery. He's just going to be active hands, gets a couple steals a game. They knew it coming in. You've got to be careful and value the ball. But Auburn typically has 2 guys, if not 3 on the court that all have or can play point guard. Right now they've only got 1.
Silas Demery Jr. was a great defensive back on the football field. So that's where I got my great hips. It allows me to stay with smaller guards, and he had the takeaway that took him to the free throw line. His dad, Silas Demery Sr., played football at Howard Valdosta State. One more coming for Demery Jr. Second best free throw shooter on this Georgia team. Knocks them both down.
I've been really impressed. It has not been a pretty game for Georgia, but it's been an intense, hard-fought scouting report. I think has been executed on the defensive end, and they're giving themselves a chance under 10 on the road against number 1.
15 points from the free throw line, 15 of 47 for Georgia. Kelly the lob. Cardwell had it knocked away. Great defense by Dylan James. Here's Blue Kane. Skip pass, James walked with it. Unforced error for Georgia. Turnover number 13.
Well, Auburn was looking for that lob dunk to Cardwell. That's where he eats. And as they recover back, and a little bit of a forearm in his chest, wasn't able to quite reach out to get that lob dunk. But Bruce Pearl, I think, with a good substitution, get another playmaker in, Baker Mazzara, to go with the shooter, Miles Kelly.
Beautiful pass, threading the needle. Pettiford found Cardwell.
And just by having Baker Mazzara on the court, the spacing is so much better for Auburn to sneak into the paint there and slip for Cardwell.
Auburn shooting 60% from the floor in the second half, nearly doubling the first half rate. Asa Newell with the three.
Well, the percentages show that he's not a great three-point shooter, but when he just hit one from that same spot, you must treat him like a shooter. That's too short, too slow of a closeout.
And all of his threes this season have come from the top of the key or the right side, none from the left. Pettiford left alone. Can't cash in. Hudson the rebound. Challenged by Newell. And a step on the end line and another Georgia turnover. 14th of the game for the Bulldogs.
Well, Auburn's ball movement, their spacing, this is why they're so good. Look at the slips. Everybody knows. Let's see what the Hogs did as well. Man, and this is, when I look at Georgia Wake Forest, for example, it's exhausting if you're a team like Wake Forest where you got so few quality win opportunities left that you're just trying to avoid these landmines like they faced at NC State today. And Georgia, you're exhausted because you're playing a top 10 team every other night, but at least you're getting the opportunity.
Oh, Janai Brome picking up the trash and turning it into treasure. He's got another three-point opportunity. Now 1,500 points in his Auburn career. And it came off a block shot.
And would you say Janai Brome has been great this afternoon? It's hard to say because it hadn't been overly impressive. Then you look at the stat sheet, you're like 22 in 11, and he's shooting over 50%. I mean, this guy just keeps coming at you all game long. And Bruce Pearl is so good at keeping his guys fresh throughout the course of the game.
He limits even his stars playing time. Here's Kane. Keep him fresh not only within the game, but a long discussion with Bruce today at shoot-around revolving the value of the SEC championship game. They played through Sunday last year. They knocked off Florida. It was a grind even to get to Sunday. By playing in the SEC championship game, win or lose, it cost you a day of rest, a day of prep. Then you had to get on a plane, fly across the country to Spokane.
Yeah, and what he does as good a job as anybody. Look at Janai Brome. He leads the team at under 29 minutes per game. So it allows his team through this gauntlet of the SEC or the conference tournament, as you're alluding to stay fresh. And he told us earlier, he goes, man, I've really backed off on our practices. Like, we're practicing every day, but it's a lot more about the psychology, the scouting report, get your stretching in, get your shots up. They have not been going extremely hard. And, for example, you said it was just a week ago that we had that memorable 1-2 game. It's been a long week for these Auburn Tigers, but they're staying as fresh as possible, and that's been a Bruce Pearl staple his entire career.
Team high 14 for Silas Demery Jr. Here's Baker Mazzara off the screen, kicks it out. Pettiford had it knocked away. They'll stay with Auburn with 16 on the shot clock.
Pettiford struggled to find his rhythm. He went off against Georgia last time. He had 24 on the road to help with Broom's absence. He is 0 for 6 right now, just 2 points, trying to find his stroke.
He and Denver Jones have just about split the minutes at the point guard position today. Lob to Broom, cashes in again. 25-point performance for Janai Broom. The lead back to 8. Georgia is going to need to knock down some shots. Here's Demery. Georgia shooting just 38% a game. And they are now 5 of 16 from 3, but Newell picks up another bucket to get him to 15.
And that's where you see him being such a pogo stick. He can get off the court 2 times as fast as you can jump off the court. He's just an exceptional athlete.
And kids, if you don't know what a pogo stick is, just look it up on TikTok. Here's Broom. Passed on the 3. Went with the drive and the flush.
And Hudson cleared the way for him there. Gave Broom that open driving lane.
SEC high 27 for Janai Broom. Shot clock at 6. Whoa! Dylan James makes his first bucket, an emphatic one.
They won't go away. If I'm Mike White, I'm thinking about going back to that zone because Auburn solved it a little bit to start the second half, but it's what worked for them in the first half. And here you go.
Remember, Auburn had only faced 12 possessions of zone all season coming into this afternoon. Georgia unable to protect the glass on the zone. Jaheim Hudson had the rebound.
Well, just a bad closeout here, and there's no help side because of the post clearing out space. Janai Broom does a nice job.
And BYU coming up of a whitewashing of Kansas. Goes to Tucson to take on number 19 Arizona to close it out. Tom Hart, Dane Bradshaw. Mike White using a timeout. Auburn is in the 97th percentile in the nation on baseline out of bounds.
You've got to keep an eye right here to screen for the inbounder. They really like to get him the ball. Flex screen. Boom.
Here's Broom. The lefty loses it. Gives it back out to Baker Mazzara. Now 7 to shoot. 5 on the clock. Fade away 1 foot. No. Broom there. And he is a human eraser. He cleans up a lot of mistakes. And Jones with the left-hand push shot.
You just think about the opportunity where Georgia has played so well defensively and couldn't finish the possession. I go all the way back to that Baker Mazzara corner 3 at the end of the shot clock. You get the floater there. It's a different ball game if they collect those defensive rebounds.
Asa Newell knocks down another. This is a 6'11 freshman who has made 3 threes today. He's got 18.
And he was very quiet in that first half. 15 of those 18 here in the second half, including all 3 triples you talked about.
Georgia's sitting in the zone. Broom has dissected it with his passing. Spin move. 2-hand jam. Went right by the freshman. 29 now for Janai Broom. 3 off of his career high. Kane can't find any space. 6 to shoot. Surreal kicks it out. Kane with 3. Hand in his face, rattles it home. Huge 3 for Blue Kane, his second of the contest, and Auburn clinging to a 4-point lead.
Probably the most difficult look he's had all night, but clutch at the end of the shot clock.
Auburn only scored 67 points in its midweek win against Arkansas. This has been an offense not as efficient as we've seen, and Chaney Johnson off the Janai Broom assist.
Well, in the second half adjustments, they have knifed up Georgia in that zone by simply getting Janai Broom the ball right there in the middle of the paint.
Georgia has made 4 of its last 5 threes. Shot clock and 7. Silas Demery with the drive. Tough 2. Offensive rebound to get Newell for the push-off, I believe. Nope, it's going to stay this way.
Well, Auburn is just at their best when things go through Janai Broome. You can run play. Well, this is one of those post games, if they can hang on to win, where Bruce Pearl says the difference in the game was we had number 4 and they didn't.
Yeah.
And this is why he continues to be a leading candidate for National Player of the Year. Night in, night out, target on his back. And I think also a big reason why this coaching staff and Bruce Pearl separating themselves as the National Coach of the Year, because, again, Janai Broome's success in player development is part of that analysis of Coach of the Year. This guy was at Morehead State a couple years back, and they've turned him to an all-conference player, to All-American, and to now Player of the Year right here in Auburn. I think the guy would have been successful no matter where he went. I don't know that he's an All-American anywhere else but playing for Bruce Pearl.
His career high is 32. It came from Morehead in the Ohio Valley Championship game against Murray State a few years ago. Asa Newell in and out. Blue Cane kept it alive. Surreal finds it. Demery got downhill and Kelly grabbed his arm on the drive. And he said, count it.
And here's an interesting part, like continuation, you got to be in the shooting motion. I don't agree with this call. I think the foul occurred before he brought the ball up. Now, I'd like to see them add this to the college game because he's clearly going to score. But I think that's a call going in Georgia's favor. I see why Auburn's upset.
So 3-point opportunity for Silas Demery Jr. This is a Georgia team that has not lost a single game outside of quad 1.
How tough have the Bulldogs been on the road? How many times could this game have gotten away from them? Yet they just make big shots, big plays, and you've got to play the best 2 minutes of your life. And that could help right there.
Jump ball, and Surreal finds it. Kane passed on the 3. Has it blocked out of bounds. And with 2:10 remaining, it'll be Georgia ball under the basket.
And that's where I think Blue Cane, he's athletic enough to get there. Now you got to go seek out that contact, go in to get fouled as opposed to avoid it.
Bulldogs have made 5 of their last 7 attempts. Mike White directing traffic from the Georgia bench. Says give Silas Demery room to operate. Pull up. No good. Missed opportunity for Georgia. Baker Mazzara the spin. And a kick. Baker Mazzara and Broome not on the same page trying to execute the play.
And I'm okay with that. Arguing a little bit, talking to one another, better than being a silent team and going your separate ways. Communicate, figure it out, and execute better the next time you get it.
That's fair, but I don't think you should have yelled at me during break the last time because I didn't get to you quick enough on the replay.
You've got away with words. Like, you don't call me an idiot. You just say, that would be idiotic if you did that again. And,
oh, Dane, that's misleading at best. Danny Johnson re-enters for Auburn. Jones, nice throw. Surreal commits goaltending. And it's a 7-point Auburn lead with 1:42 to play.
And I'll stay on my Janai Broome pedestal here because the whole reason Surreal
Gumson. ECU has 2 wins against quad 1 teams, and they're likely to pick up a win this afternoon. 1:40 to play. Kelly was all over Kane, and now he'll try to stay in front of Demery. Demery into Cardwell, and a foul on the drive. If it's on Cardwell, it's his 4th. It is. Got him in the head on the drive. And Silas Demery still down next to the stanchion.
Well, this is what Georgia's been needing more. 37 minutes. The past 2 outings, he's been right at 40 minutes and 39 plus in another one. So he has just been an absolute dynamite competitor for Mike White at the point guard spot.
4-star recruit. He was a huge win on a recruiting trail for Mike White. And missed many. Down 7 with 126. Surreal returns for Georgia. Georgia's got some great wins on their resume. Knocked off Kentucky, knocked off St. John's. But in their basketball history, they've never beaten number one. 1 of 2 for Demery. LeFew subbed out for James. Georgia puts full court pressure. And we got a whistle before the ball was inbounded. A hold charges Silas Demery.
That's the right call. There was a jersey pull right in front of the official. Right when he turns right there, you see that. You got to blow the whistle there. Well done. Takes away an opportunity for Georgia to sit down and get a traditional stop and send a good free throw shooter to the free throw line. That's another thing Auburn certainly has down the stretch.
That was the 4th personal on Silas Demery Jr. And Jones knocks down the first.
When you look at all this, Tom, my goodness, you got guys down the stretch, and as an opponent, you were trying to sit there and say, all right, this is the worst free throw shooter. Get in his hands, foul, foul, foul. But, man, they got some guys that can knock them down. Chris Moore hadn't been to the line as much as the other guys. But typically the players they're closing the game out with have all the confidence in the world to knock those clutch free throws down.
Denver Jones coming up big down the home stretch. Kane off balance 3. Newell followed jam. Nobody got a body on the big fella. He's got 20. Full court pressure again for Georgia.
I mean, everybody else is playing on hardwood. He's playing in a jump park. This guy's unbelievable with his bounce.
Now Broome. We approach 1 minute, and we got a stoppage by Don Daly with a clock issue. The shot clock never got reset. Does this help Georgia or hurt Georgia? Shooting in the second half. And they're trying to finish strong, just as they did against Arkansas when they closed on a 10-2 run against John Calipari's team midweek. Auburn has made 7 of its last 9. What a half for Broome.
Don't forget the last time these two teams met in Athens, Georgia was down and rallied to give themselves a chance.
Mike White can't believe he just got whistled. LeFew got whistled for the foul, and he was very, very close to getting teed up based on his response. This arena isn't quiet very often, but it was when the whistle blew, and you could probably hear Mike White's response.
And I'm sure Mike White is saying, hey, look, even if his arms are around him, we could call that every single play. But when it's a dead ball situation, officials are locked in on just those two. It becomes a little more obvious for them to call. I understand Mike White's frustration. Like, hey, I'm just trying to be physical and beat guys to the spot and get a turnover on my press.
5 points for Denver Jones in the last minute. Auburn 15 of 21 from the free throw line today. Their competition, at least Janai Broome's competition for the National College Player of the Year, Cooper Flagg, will be at Madison Square Garden tonight in a non-conference tilt against a banged-up Illinois team. LeFew with an air ball. And a Georgia turnover. The jungle, it's all the noise and none of the mosquito bites.
Yeah. We'll do a little offense-defense substitution. Bacon Mazzara getting the crowd into it, but we need to focus on getting this ball and not turning it over. This is where Georgia came back last time to make it close in Athens.
Yeah, they had 2 looks at under 5 seconds, a missed 3 and a missed putback from Newell. And outside of the 2 losses for Auburn this year, to Florida and to Duke, it was the toughest test the Tigers had faced. It came without Janai Broome, who missed 2 games in the middle of conference play. Baker Mazzara will trigger. Dumps it off to Jones, fouled by Kane.
Janai Broome has just been an absolute monster, particularly in the second half. That's a pick and pop situation. He got hot from three, and then you don't double team him down low, and he looks at you like you're crazy. And look at him run the court, get that great pass from Baker Mazzara. I mean, this stat line, 19 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, 7 for 7. And guess what? That was only in this half. Most people would kill to have that sort of career night, and he did it in one half. He's really taken the game over.
He said, I am the man. He's a guy who came in with a sterling defensive reputation, was the OVC Defensive Player of the Year while at Morehead State as an elite shot blocker. Set a school record for blocks with Morehead. And he has turned into an elite offensive player.
Well, he continues to help with the rim protection, but he has got a squad around him defensively, led by Stephen Pearl, the defensive coordinator, Coach Pearl's son, that has made Auburn not just an offensive team, but a well-rounded complementary basketball.
Broome with the rebound, and he has it knocked out of bounds. It'll be Georgia basketball. Broome ended up on the Georgia bench. To Tuscaloosa for the Cats and tied as soon as we finish.
I tell you, Tom, this Georgia team looks like an NCAA tournament team to me. I mean, you watch these guys, and they're just not a top 10 team. Nobody's arguing that they are. But when they're playing top 10 every other night, they've been coming up short. But you can't tell me that this team right here isn't good enough to be in the NCAA tournament. They've been terrific under Mike White, making more progress every year he's been there. But they've got a few opportunities left. They got Florida, they got knocked off, but right now it's about Auburn saying, hey, we got unfinished business. We got a 2-game lead in the SEC, and we're not letting go of it.
38 seconds left, double-digit lead, and Miles Kelly to the free throw line. One more coming for Kelly. Denver Jones had scored the last 8 for Auburn. I'll repeat the gauntlet for Georgia. This is, of their last 14 games, the 7th top 10 opponent that they've faced. Those are all of the games since January 1st. 14 of them, and half have come against top 10 opponents. And oh, by the way, they get Florida next. So you can look at that 2 ways. Another tough test and another opportunity. 10-point lead, 31 seconds to play. We'll be back to Auburn in just a moment.
This home court advantage and how well they play at home. But gone are the days where anybody used to criticize, yeah, can they take that show on the road? They have not lost on the road in SEC play. The most historic conference season we've had.
Broome touch ahead. Kelly will wisely pull it out. Auburn will go to 25-2 on this season in firm command with, after today, 4 games remaining in conference play at 13-1 in the best conference college basketball has ever seen by the numbers. Asa Newell with the foul. And Georgia will try to find a win. Meanwhile, 25-win season in the last 8 years. What a job Bruce Pearl did building this program.
He's a future Hall of Famer. He has won everywhere he's been and won big and been responsible for arguably the best eras everywhere he has stopped. And anybody that's followed his career, you say, hey, is it remarkable what he's done at Auburn? Yes. Is it unbelievable? No, because you've known who is running the show here and how he's ignited this fan base and this program. It's been sensational.
Well, I think you have to go back to really appreciate it, go back over a decade to what this program was and what it's been built to. This incredible home court advantage. It'll be the 56th win in the last 61 games here at the Jungle. Number 1, wins by 12. Janai Broome carrying the Tigers to another